Reunited and it feels so good. Peaches and Herb sang that song way back in the 80s with me. Young man, he's only 31 years old, believe it or not. 8 seasons with the Warriors, 3 with Cronulla, and reunited now with the Warriors from Redcliffe, which is about half an hour up the road from Brisbane, northeast of. Shaun Johnson, welcome back, mate.
I like how you said young man. I'll take that. But nah, thanks for having me.
Well, look, I mean, you've been around for 11 years. I mean, I was going to call you a veteran, but at 31 years old, I mean, you've just got your first child and everything else. I mean, you're hardly an old fella, are you? Thanks for coming back to the Warriors. What does it feel like this time?
It's I get asked that question a lot, and I don't know if I've ever answered it correctly, because I guess it sort of just changes day to day, probably in its most simplest form to put it, it feels like really right. It just feels like it's meant to be. It feels like it was the move that I needed to make in my career. And I'm so far really happy I did because, I've probably been in training sort of 3 months now, just over 3 months, and I've literally loved every moment of it. Sort of bounced through the doors every morning. And just being immersed in, I guess, the Warriors culture again, and sort of just knowing that I'm representing the people I care about again, has been a really good feeling.
What can we expect from you this time? There's such a weight of expectation on you every time you played last time. We wanted you to lead the side. I mean, I don't have to tell you this. I mean, you're at number 7 starting this week. I know you didn't play the first game. You've had 3 kind of injury-plagued seasons as far as the Sharks went, coming off that hamstring as well. So A, what can we expect from you? B, what do you want to achieve?
Yeah, I obviously, I really want to get back to that level of consistency in my footy, and that happens through playing games. So my first priority was getting my body right, getting my weight right, getting strong in the areas that have maybe let me down the past few seasons. So I'm hoping, what I guess the media and the audience will see is me playing every game this season. That's what my intentions are. And I believe if I can do that, if I can just stay on the field, if I can stay healthy, that the footy will sort of take care of itself. I had a reason I guess I'm confident of that is because I had a period in 2020 where I played every game. 2019 was a bit rough with relocating to Cronulla and being away from family and just the ups and downs of all that, dealing with that for the first time. And in 2020, I sort of got on top of things and really played every game to start the season right up until round 18 or 17 that year. And that's when I popped my Achilles. And what I found when I was able just to stay on the field and stay on top of little niggles is that the footy side of things took care of itself. And I got a lot of confidence from that. So, I've got a clear picture of what it looks like for me. Now it's just about, executing that and staying diligent with everything that I guess contributes to me staying on the field.
How fast are you still? How good are you still?
Man, I probably don't really know myself, to be honest, mate. I didn't play the last 8 games last season. Didn't play any trial games. So I'm keen to get out there and just get a good taste of it again. I'm keen to get out there and just deliver what I know I can is pretty much what I want to do. I'm not falling under anyone else's expectations. I'm not letting anyone else's perception of me consume me anymore. I'm far past that. But I certainly just want to live up to what I know I'm capable of. And for me, come Saturday, I get the first chance to show people that, and I'm not saying it's going to be perfect, I hope it is, but I'm okay if it's not, because I know we've got a long journey. I've got a long journey ahead of me to reach the end of the season and where I want us to finish.
This is one of the Warriors' favourite sons, of course, sitting in front of us here, Shaun Johnson. The reason I'm asking you these questions is because I just want to clarify and get it absolutely clear in everyone's head. You're not here to kind of guide this guy or guide this guy. You're not here to kind of oversee things or provide you're going to provide the steady hand in that. But first and foremost, you've got to play, and you've got to be a player that's picked in that 13, right?
Well, 100%. And that's why I sort of speak about. I know if I can deliver what I believe I can, then that's the first box ticked, and then that ensures me playing consistent footy. So people will hype up the story behind me coming back, but ultimately it's all for nothing if I don't show up and produce. And I know that. So yeah, like for me, it's pretty clear and simple. Yeah, you play good footy, you get yourself in the side each week, and you get to represent the people that you care about.
Look, I want to go into exactly what your hopes, dreams are for the season. What what the club wants to achieve this season. All of that. You're going to get asked this a lot, though. Just tracking back to when you left. The last game you played was against Penrith. It was the last time that we were in the 8. It was a horrible way to finish and everything. The exit of the club wasn't all that smooth. I mean, I don't have to go back over all that. But the question being is, what's different about it this time, and what brought you back this time? Cameron George is still there. I know Steve Kearney's not there. Is it that simple?
No, look, I don't think it's fair to say it's that simple, because certainly the last thing I'm going to do is disrespect people or, speak out of turn on matters that happened over, 3 years ago. I've dealt with that part of, of that situation in my life. And I ran with the experience of living in Cronulla for the last 3 seasons and learning, in Cronulla for the last 3 seasons. So everything happened for a reason, man. So I'm certainly not going to sit here and say it's that simple. That's all that needed to happen. I came back, bro, because I genuinely, with everything in my body, believe that the club have people in place to take us to where we need to get to. Sustained success. It's not about reaching finals once in the next 7 years. It's about creating sustained success that kids in New Zealand are seeing each week, each year, and wanting to be a part of it, creating a culture that long outlives anything that I can do, that you can do, that anyone can do. We want to create that. We're done with the trying to have an immediate fix for one season and then it all unravels at the end of 2018 when we've made the finals for the first time in however many years, it's much more than that. So I want to be a part of that. I believe, obviously, in the roster that we have, that we can do something special this year. That's why it's hard for me to say it's as simple as one reason brought me back. It's a magnitude of reasons. It was the perfect timing for me and my family to move back. Obviously, we didn't see us being based in Redcliffe and me having to be away from them as part of the plan. But hey, it's a short-term sacrifice for, I feel like, what's going to be some of the best rewards of my career. So
just to let you know, people as well, Redcliffe is actually one of the places where they're actually talking about putting an extra team, and if they do there, of course, there's another New Zealand side that's also in the mix for that. Last few seasons, so I mean, 12th, I think it was 10th and 12th. The margins are so goddamn tight, though, aren't they? 2 or 3 wins here, getting off to a really good start. These are the things, I know we talk about them every year. Phil Gould was saying the other day, Shaun, he said, the Warriors will be on top after 5 rounds. And I just went, oh my God, I'm not even going to look at the draw now after he said that. But what is it about for you guys? You must have talked about this because the very bottom line's got to be that 8, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah, 100%. The bottom line definitely is the 8. But we have reviewed what's happened the last season here at the club and made it very clear that it was very small margins, tight margins, which ultimately cost the side playing finals. There was a handful of games which the club had an opportunity to win or had done actually enough to win, but maybe just missed a few little areas of the game. But I guess what we had to convince the boys of, and well, not even convince, but just make them clear of, was that maybe we're not as far off as what sometimes it can feel. And with the right attitude and approach to our preseason and how we want this season to look for us, with the players we've brought in, it was all geared at correcting those, and just really narrowing that margin. So, we've added some experience in the halves. Obviously, Ash Taylor joined the club as well. We've brought in Aaron Penne from the Storm, who's been in a pretty good system the last few years and knows what success looks like. We've got, obviously, some key players that have re-signed, and Adam Fanua-Blake, Josh Curran, these boys that are going to be a core part of this side moving forward. And all of that, breeds confidence. So I've got no dramas with what we've got. And it's been a really good preseason to work on those areas where we were maybe just a little bit off last year.
It would be so immensely different in every possible way you could think of if you were based here in Auckland. I just want to know what the kind of contrast is. When you're with the Warriors in Auckland, you know what kind of microscope is on it. And you can treat that as a positive or a negative. I mean, I always actually look at it and think, well, I mean, how do you not love this support? How do you not love this energy? And I mean, even though people go completely berserk about it at times, contrast that with where you are now. I mean, you couldn't be more further away. And so how does that feel pressure-wise for you? Does it change at all? Does it change the way you were actually building up to this first game?
Yeah, look, I certainly think we're somewhat flying under the radar where we are. Obviously we're in the same city as the Broncos, so a lot of the headlines is going to be sort of geared to what they're up to.
Right.
But in saying that, like we do feel and I guess want to represent the people, of New Zealand, with just as if we were playing at Mount Smart each week. Like everyone quite often talks about the sacrifice that we're making and what we're missing out on as players. But what the true hearty fans of rugby league in New Zealand have missed out the last 3 years is just as much. Like we're talking about diehard fans that have been there since day one, that have made it part of their family rituals to drive to Mount Smart every other Sunday,
Right.
and absorb and ride the wave with us, that haven't had that feeling or experience since COVID. So, like, we're aware that we're representing those people too, but in terms of having, I guess, the media of New Zealand right on our back where we're seeing it every day, obviously we're not, because we're over here. So, man, to be fair, we could go out, maybe not play the best or get the performance that we were looking after, and I'm not picking up the paper the next day or not being made aware of it, obviously, because we're over here. So in that sense, it is different.
That home game at Mount Smart, I just keep thinking about it, thinking the return game. It's going to be the hottest ticket in town, mate, isn't it? They actually might, I know it's sacrilege to actually even suggest it, but finance-wise, I bet you the boss is probably thinking, let's play that at Eden Park. I mean, you're probably about to sell out Mount Smart twice over, 3 times over for that game.
Yeah, and I'm glad you feel that, because you could imagine what the boys are feeling when every time that game gets brought up, that first game, whatever game it is that we get to play at Mount Smart, has got everyone wanting to be picked for the side and playing their best footy leading into that game, I reckon. It's something that, I've spoken a little bit about me coming back to the club, and even the game coming up on Saturday has been a highlight of my career. It's a really special moment in my life and my career. It's going to be a special occasion on Saturday, having my mum and dad over for the game. But honestly, I think that'll be top, that first game that I get to play back at Mount Smart and that we get to play back at Mount Smart, because there truly are no fans like our fans. There's no more loyal and passionate, and that goes both ways, the good and the bad, but ultimately fans that genuinely care about the club than ours. So I could just imagine what they're going to be like. It is going to pop off. They're going to blow the roof off Mount Smart, and that is something that I cannot wait to feel and experience, because when I went to the Sharks, all I wanted was to play a game against the Warriors at Mount Smart and experience it as a visitor, but that never happened. So I get a better seat, I get a better ticket, I get to actually represent them again. So yeah, I can't wait, really can't.
You've been keeping an eye on Rog and his performances for the Blues. I know he's got the shoulder, which is a real shame.
Yeah, obviously I watched his first game and just pretty much got angry at him because I couldn't believe how good he was in his first game. And then I sort of saw little bits and pieces of his game in the weekend, but didn't see how he did his shoulder or, what happened there. But I think it was pretty clear that he's certainly going to make a fair go of it. And he can add a different dynamic. So I guess as a mate, former teammate, it was really cool to see. I know he's been hanging out a long time to sort of get a crack. So, yeah, it's just cool to see him play some footy again.
And it's something that, again, you're going to have to absorb. It just goes with the territory, isn't it? There with him gone. I mean, it's not like you straight away become the face of the Warriors again, but you're obviously going to be in demand. I mean, you're going to be requested for a lot of interviews and things like that. At the same time, you've got this little bugger, Reece Walsh, hanging over there. And look, let's hope we can keep him as long as possible. When he played last year and he came into the side, I was just amazed. I actually put together a commentary piece of all the commentators waxing so lyrical about him, and just how excited everyone seemed to be to have him around and have him playing. So for you, I mean, this is kind of like almost turning the clock back 10 years or something. It must be a hell of a buzz.
Yeah, no, it is. I certainly I certainly see some of the similarities between, I guess, my entrance into first grade and his. I think his has probably been a little bit more astronomical in terms of just going whack.
No, we all remember that one against Brisbane, mate. I can't remember who you beat, but you ran off 50 metres in front of somebody.
Yeah, but I don't know, man. He got picked for Origin after 8 first grade games or something stupid. Like, it's just all stuff that adds to this hype, and he seriously is one of the most naturally gifted ball players I've seen. Like he's got some freakish skill, freakish touch that you can't ever coach. It's you've either got it or you don't. So it's about us just working on that hardened edge for him, that effort part of his game, and I think, man, once he cracks that and gets on top of that, you'll see he'll be very hard to, I guess, beat. And really, there is no roof for him. It's limitless. So we're really excited to see him in the infancies of his career and just be a part of helping him sort of mold his game and educate him on areas where I guess I experienced coming through. So yeah, it's a cool feeling, I guess, looking back, and he often, will talk to me about certain moments of my career, and it's cool. Yeah, it really is cool just to, I guess, be around not just him, but a few other young fellas too,
His box office, all right. Look, last time I saw him being interviewed as well. I mean, I don't know when the next time you see him, but please pass on that as far as I think us fans go, it was just such a shame to me to see his head down, and he was, I thought, over apologising. I'm going to call it the incident, because we've all had incidents in our lives and things, aren't we? For an 18-year-old guy, I just hope that doesn't tag him, and he just doesn't let it overweigh him, because to me, we make mistakes. You're 18 years old, son. Put it to the side and move on.
Oh, I can assure you, man, if there's one thing I know about Walsh, he is got a memory of a fish, so he'll forget it. He'll be all right. He doesn't lack any confidence. So I did give him a friendly reminder that, hey, your mate here played in the league for coming up my 12th season. I've never been in a little nickel of trouble just yet. So touch wood, clean state stays clean.
Nathan Brown, what has he got? What are you seeing in the time that you've spent with him that I'm not going to say the other coaches haven't brought, but what is he doing somehow different, or something to inspire the side, or something, adding something?
Well, I think Brownie has probably the area he's probably most impressed me is the time he puts into the fundamentals of the game. Like quite often you can, when you're at, I guess, the level we are, NRL players, you can sort of think you've mastered the basics, obviously, to get to this point. But he has stripped our preseason right back, where at times it could have been a bit frustrating that we were running just such simple plays or doing such simple drills, such as catch pass, certain ball plays, even just ripping out defensive movements, But what I've been impressed with is the time he's put into the fundamentals of the game. And it's funny, like we were getting frustrated at a certain point, and then we go into some 13-on-13 actual live sort of rugby league drilling. And the stuff that we're producing in those drills is evident of what we'd done, like for weeks of just simple core skill. So I think you're going to see a style of footy played this year where our middles will be tipping to one another quite a bit, using the ball through their hands, and you'll see our skill, on another level because of the work we've put in. So that's probably been the main area I've seen with Brownie, the confidence he's given each and every individual about, executing core fundamental skill at a world-class level.
6 again. Well, I just got a couple more questions. We'll let you go. I mean, thank you so much for your time, mate. Game was on 7:30 on Saturday. It's the Warriors against St George, the opening round. 24, you know how it goes, 24 rounds, and then we get into the 8 after that. It's magnificent NRL season when it's starting, isn't it? I mean, it's just such a buzz when it starts. In terms of that 6 again rule, though, there were teams that really picked it up and got it real quick, didn't they? And it made such an advantage. How do you see that going, just in general terms, in the way all the teams attack that and play with that this year?
Yeah, obviously there's teams will have a better understanding of what it looks like, and how to best execute off the back of it. I think the teams you found probably dealt with it the best last year were the teams that had those sort of natural, instinctive sort of ball players, the ones that were good to, I'm thinking of like the Cody Walkers, the Tom Trebojeviches, the James Tedesco's, where you get a 6 again, it's about just playing some footy on it, you know what I mean? It's like you're over the ad line, you're just asking the defence constant questions, because they've had to make so many, I guess, back-to-back efforts. So I think you'll see teams sort of playing a bit more ad lib. I think you'll see teams over the ad line a little bit more, and probably going back to that sort of just playing footy type mentality when the time's right, you know?
Is it good or bad for the game, though? I mean, I don't mind a little bit of slowing down. I know the players don't mind a little bit of slowing down every now and again. Have they got it right or not?
Well, I think they've got it right in the sense of changing that 6 again rule to a penalty when you're coming out of your own end. I think that's a good move because you saw just teams just taking the piss and didn't mind giving up.
Yeah.
Didn't mind giving up play 1 or 2, you know, early in a count.
Well, it's almost like they sent the first guy in just to do that.
Yeah. So I think the fact that you've taken that out, you know, will keep people, you know, a little bit more accountable, which will mean, you know, like you should be sort of just rolling through your normal amount of tackles and getting rid of the ball. But then, yeah, you ask any good questions in good ball or, you know, coming into your try line and a team wants to lay on you to try to win that tackle back, you get rewarded with a 6 again. That's dramas, you know, like that's on for the attack. So I think that rule is, yeah, probably balanced it up in a good way. And I think the first game's Thursday night. We'll see just how many penalties there are coming out of yardage with that rule change.
Can you allow yourself to kind of just sit neutrally for a second? And because what I want to ask you about is I want to ask you about Ivan and I want to ask you about Nathan and I want to ask you about Penrith winning. And I mean, I've always believed that the Melbourne Storm's the Antichrist of rugby league. And so, you know, the fact that they got knocked out of there, Penrith came through, got smacked up the year before, but actually, I mean, their defence, so you look at those last 4 games, I think they're only conceding 10 to 12 points a game. It's remarkable, wasn't it? But just your feelings about those guys, because they're such favourite sons back home, both of them.
Yeah, they're obviously they're very impressive, aren't they? And I mean, I got to, you know, deal with Ivan for the first sort of 2 seasons of my career. You know, the first year, 2010, I didn't play first grade, but obviously, you know, worked under him. And then 2011, he gave me my debut. So I guess I'll always have that connection to him in that sense, you know. And then obviously seeing Nath come through and the level he's played at such a young age has just been like, bro, like you're ridiculous. You know, like that's taken other people bloody 5, 6, 7 years. You know, I think Joey Johns comments on it a bit where he says as a halfback, he reckons you play your best footy sort of anywhere from sort of 28 to 30, you know, because you actually you see the game in a different way. So whether Nathan's doing that right now or it's scary to think that, hold on, he's still going to get better and better, it's really impressive. And obviously to see them do it as a father and son, obviously that relationship I could imagine would be quite awkward at times, you know, when things weren't going right for him. So to see them, get a bit of success, it is a cool story for rugby league. And it was cool. Yeah, like I obviously don't like cheering on any other team to win the comp, but, you know, it was a cool story and you can't deny that.
All right. Well, I know you've got other duties to do. I mean, you probably got to get on a Zoom after this, don't you, and actually talk to your little run and Kayla back home as well. So we thank you so much for the time. Just your final message to Warriors fans. I mean, this is the best week of the season because we've won the comp this year, man. I mean, as far as kickoff happens on Saturday, but this is the best week of all. This is the week where everyone's allowed to dream.
Yeah, keep dreaming, team. Keep dreaming. Now, I guess just to everyone out there, you know, everyone that sees this clip, we've been working really hard over here, and I genuinely am really excited about what we can achieve this year. So I'm not saying it's going to be all perfect. We all know better than anyone else that it can be a bit up and down. So excited for you guys to jump on that ride with us. And even though we're over here, we're still thinking about everyone back home, and that'll always be at the forefront of our minds when we're playing. So, you know, we hope to do you proud, and we get to start it this week. And so let's go.
Welcome back, man.
I appreciate it, bro. Thank you.